For the viewers who may not recognize you, let them know who you are and definitely where you're from.
I am Dr. Daniel Black. I'm a professor of African American Studies at Clark Atlanta University.
Wow, that's major. That's major. Big shout out to Clark, Atlanta. Now, what exactly is African studies? Is that like history, or is it something different? Or
Well, sort of. It's Black history, really, um, but it's Black history, Black literature, like anything concerning African descended people.
wow, okay, okay. Now, was that something that you developed a passion for early on, or is it something you kind of got into later in life?
Yes, when I first entered Clark in the '80s, I took a class called African American Literature, and I absolutely fell in love with Black literature, Black symbols, Black tropes, Black stories. And from then on, that's just what I've wanted to teach, what I've consumed. It's and I've done that because I feel like when Black children are taught who they are, where they come from, their own story, their own triumphs, their own trials, that they love themselves. They learn to love themselves, and they learn to live in such a way that they're proud of themselves. And that's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, brother. Teach our children, right, to be excited that they came to the earth in this form.
Yeah, definitely. That's vital. I mean, because you not only learn to love yourself, you empower, but you learn to love your people too. You learn all that stuff, read all that good stuff. You're going to look at your brothers and sisters with a higher regard.
Absolutely. And you learn to love God in your own form. You learn to love a God
Definitely.
who looks like you.
That's right. That's right. You learn to love your natural black self, the way you came out. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Now I can ask you, now you're actually an author. Did you start writing books, once you started teaching?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I have 9 books now. Um, I've written several novels. I have an essay collection also called Black on Black that just won the Georgia Author of the Year award. So I'm excited about that. And I have a new novel coming out in January. I'm working on a Black scripture, Brother Ty. I'm working on literally a Black Bible as I'm talking about it. It is scripture in chapter and verse, just like the Bible as we know it. But it's what God exposed to us, what God said to me for the world. So I'm excited about that. I'm about halfway through with it. I'm writing the book of Tyrone right now. Um, and I'm excited about it. I think folks will get a lot from it.
Yeah, definitely. That sounds very interesting. Now you mentioned the black on black essay. Now, what is that exactly about?
Yes, the book is titled Black on Black, and it is a collection of essays. And it's a collection of essays, man, that examines contemporary Black life right now. It looks at the Black church. It looks at Black children in public education. It looks at Black LGBTQ brothers and sisters. It looks at the Central Park Five and what happened to them and why, and what should be our response to them. Um, it looks at the question of integration. Was that a good idea or not? You know, and so, yeah, it's examining contemporary issues, just asking us as a nation and asking us specifically as Black people to consider, and in some instances to reconsider where we are, what we're doing, what we think we want, what we think we love, what are our convictions, what are we willing to die for, why have we tolerated so much madness, insanity, why have we put up with Black death, with the murder of Black people so long without a complete rebellion, or in what ways have we rebelled and it's worked, in what ways have we rebelled and it seemed only to be a mask. So, all those kinds of things.
Wow, wow, that's what's up, man. I look forward to that definitely. Now, I wanted to ask you, now, do you come from a family of educators and authors, or are you the first?
No, quite the opposite, actually. I come from an amazing family, but they're not authors or educated folks or readers. My sister reads. I have a sister who reads, but the rest of my folks are not really readers. They're supportive, certainly, which has been wonderful, but they're not readers. So my love for reading actually came from my great grandmother. She was born in the 1890s, and she loved reading when I was a child, and she was our caregiver. She was my caregiver at least, and um, she would read. She would read the Bible. She'd read Reader's Digest. She'd read, and very often I would sit and read with her. Sometimes I would read to her. So that kind of developed a love for reading in me, which has stayed with me the rest of my life. And after I became, I guess I was a junior or senior in college, and I was reading. I think I was reading Toni Morrison's Song of Solomon, and I just wondered if I could write at the quality of what I was reading. And and so I tried my first book. They Tell Me of a Home, and I feel like I did pretty good, and so I've stuck with it, and I think I've done pretty good over the years.
Wow, that's inspiring. Yeah, definitely shout out to Toni Morrison. You set the bar high, man. That's dope, though. That's
Absolutely.
dope. Right, right. Now let me see. I wanted to ask you about that. Your first book, They Tell Me of a Home. Now that's available online as well. Now what's that about? Because you got something like you said, you got 9 books, so I kind of want to,
Yeah.
talk
Well,
about.
I tend to write about rural Black Southern country folks. Not always, but I tend to. That's because that's who I am. That's what I come from. So they tell me of a home is the story of a Black country boy named Tommy Lee Tyson who goes away to college and gets a PhD and comes back to the rural Black South. And it's about the life he finds, what he learns about himself, what he discovers about his community, the struggles, the difficulties. It's about what it has meant for him to be a student both of place, context, and for him to study the history of his people. And when he puts those two together, it's about the nuances and the complicated world that he discovers that Black people live in. And he's one of them. So it's also about the very complicated and very difficult family history he has and that he's forced to face when he comes home. So I think you'd like it.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure a lot of brothers can relate. I mean, it even seemed like some parallels with your life. Like you said, you going on to become an educator and an author. Now I looked online. They said you got to. Did you study abroad at Oxford University?
Yeah, that's correct.
Wow. Now what was that experience like?
It was really amazing. I was at Oxford for a year, and I had a great time. Met some amazing people, had some great classes. But I do want to say that more people know Oxford because of Oxford's reputation, etc., and rightly so. In some ways, I suppose. But my education at Clark was far harder and far more widely developed. Yeah, my classes at Clark were far more challenging than my classes at Oxford. It's really true. It's really, really, really true. But Oxford was fine, and I had a great time, but it did not set the intellectual bar for me. No, Clark Atlanta did that.
Okay, okay. And now you studied at Clark, you teaching at Clark. Like, how many years have you actually been there? And has it changed, like just a little bit or a lot?
I've been at Clark 31 years now as a professor.
Wow, wow. Okay, that's amazing, man. That's really amazing. So you done seen so many people come and go, and I'm
Come
sure
and
some
go.
of the best of the best.
Absolutely, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Now I got to ask you. Now, recently you did a graduation speech and went viral. If you
That's
could speak
right.
about that, yeah. Now, was this your first time doing the graduation speech, or you've done it before?
It was my first time, and it was the first time any faculty member has ever done it in the history of the school since 1869. I'm the first faculty member ever, I think, to deliver the graduation speech. And what's true is most schools in the country do not ask sitting faculty to bring the commencement address. So this was extremely uh, um, abnormal. This was unbelievably out of the ordinary. And I was incredibly, incredibly grateful um, to have the honor. And from the looks of things, I did all right.
Yeah, yeah, you did a phenomenal job. I mean, I wasn't graduating, but I was inspired by it, and it went viral. So people kept sharing it, kept liking it, and
Yes,
commenting and
yes,
stuff like
yes.
that. You got some poetry skills too, man.
I appreciate that, brother. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Now I can ask you, what did you? have like a source of inspiration to write something like that? Because that's a big honor, and like you say, you was the first of to do something like that. So I'm sure you took it seriously.
It was
Obviously,
a
the way it
huge
turned
honor.
out.
Yes, it was a huge honor. It was a magnificent honor. And the truth of the matter is, the source of my inspiration is just the students I've taught over the years. I felt like I could do this because I know CAU students. I've taught them for 30 years. I know their genius. I know their struggles. I know their difficulties. I know their trials. I know their triumphs. Right. I know what makes them laugh. I know CAU students. Um, and I felt like I, like any other faculty member, could do this and do a good job at it. And I'm happy to say not only that people were inspired, which was absolutely fantastic, and that was my goal, but that CAU students were proud. And that's really, really what I hoped for.
Wow, wow. Yeah, I could tell by the reaction of the students, they really, really enjoyed, that speech. Now, I
Yeah.
could ask you, by you being there for so many decades, was this the class that came in during the pandemic, or?
Uh, yes, I suppose so. See, the tricky thing about college, of course, is that everybody who's graduating did not graduate in exactly 4 years, right? There are always those who took 5 years, sometimes 6 years, right? Whatever. A lot of these folks um, were pandemic students. I think so.
Okay, okay. Now I could ask you, like, from your observation, did you see a great challenge? Not only physically but even mentally, because like mental health is a big thing now. Because I guess a lot of people, when they were locked down, they were going, different things, losing loved ones and stuff like that.
Did I see? I mean, during the pandemic?
Well, during the pandemic and up to now, so it's been about 4 years. Have you seen a great change in terms of dealing with the students and teaching? And by you've been there. You know what I'm saying? You've been there for 30 years. So I'm
I
just
don't
curious.
know that I've seen a change in students over the years in some ways, yes, but I don't think it had anything to do with the pandemic. Yeah, I think the greatest change I've seen over the years is, I think when I first started teaching, I think I perceive that more students were actually readers then. Students that, social media popped up, and social media now rules the land. And it seems as if students are far more observers and listeners today than they are readers. Of course, students read, of course, but I'm saying just a greater number of them and to a greater degree. It seems to me that more students read 30 years ago than those who read now. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, okay. That make a lot of sense. That made a lot of sense. And then, like I say, you not only a professor, but you also an author as well. So that's very important to have that insight. Now I can ask you a few more books that you wrote. You have a book called The Coming. Now, what
Yes,
is that about?
yes. The Coming tells the story of a slave ship crossing the Atlantic during the transatlantic slave trade. And it's a day by day, in many instances, hour by hour account of life on that slave ship, how they survived, how they communicated with one another, how they learned to love one another, how they fought together. It's about how the Tiv and the Ewe and the Yoruba and the Hausa and the Mandinka, um, how they became one people, right, on those ships in the middle of the night, how they danced on those ships and wept and cried, how many of them were thrown overboard, many died. Um, and it's about the price our ancestors paid to arrive in this place called America alive. And I just wanted the people to be very, very clear that Black life is unbelievably expensive, that somebody paid dearly for our existence. So that's what that means.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I don't know if I told you I'm in Ghana right now. I've been here since January, so I've been to like 20 African countries. I'm trying to, I
Let me
guess
tell
what they
you,
call relocate. Say that
I'm
again.
coming to Ghana Monday.
Oh, you gonna be here Monday?
This coming Monday, I fly to Ghana.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna be here, man. I don't know if you already got family and plans set up, but hopefully we could connect before
Man,
you get out of here. How long you staying?
a week.
Oh, okay. So you've been here before or no?
Never been there.
Oh man, you gonna love it. You gonna love it. Wow,
Will
that's a
you live there?
coincidence. Well, not officially. So, like I said, I got in Ghana in January. I got my Ghana card. I have a Ghana bank account. I got my cell phone. So my next step, I got my visa. So my next step is to apply for residency, which I plan on doing that this month in August. And then I've been looking at different pieces of land. I want to buy some land, start a little school, build a house, So I'm working on it.
So what do you do in Ghana, like to live, to make money, that kind of thing?
Well, I don't work at all. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio originally, so I have like some real estate properties. I do tours. Like I said, I've been to 20 different African countries, so I'll take people to like South Africa, Egypt,
Got
Tanzania, Ghana, and different places
it.
like that.
I'm going to definitely contact you and get in touch with you when I get there.
Yeah, wow, that's
Are you in
cool.
Accra?
Yeah, say that again.
Are you in Accra?
Yeah, I'm in Accra. I'm in the big city, man.
Um,
Accra it's cool. It's fun. It's a lot of good restaurants. The people very friendly, very welcoming. You gonna enjoy
I
yourself.
can't wait.
Now,
I can't wait.
yeah, yeah. Now I want to ask you more about the book. Now I don't know if it's. I guess it's kind of been going on for a while, but on social media per se, you'll see some people that'll say, "Well, the slave trade didn't happen, or it wasn't as bad as they make it. It wasn't that many people. We was already in America. Some people have questions about different things that happen. What is your perspective on that? Why is it like? I guess in the age of information, you have more people challenging, the history of what they call the Great Maya.
Well, the bottom line is some people have read about it extensively, and some people have only read um, snippets in terms of African history, or even African American history. And I've read it quite extensively. And I want us to be very clear. Certainly, it is a complicated and a complex history. Europeans absolutely decimated the continent in terms of enslavement and colonization, decimated the continent, right? The only thing that I have been trying to say to other folks is there are ways that we as Black people, we as African descended people, right? It's very important for us to also look at the complicated ways and the complicated role, right, of what a few Africans also did, right? That I think it's important for us just to be honest about and to be clear about, so that we can understand that history, and so that we can be very, very clear that our healing also includes, in many instances, the forgiving of one another. Right? I just want us to put that in. What white folks done is obvious to me. That part is obvious. I'm not even sure it's forgivable, right? But I want us to be able to look at the totality of that history, and to look at the places and the ways in which a few Africans, their greed might have gotten the best of them also.
Yeah, definitely. You made a major point. That forgiveness piece is vital. We got to forgive our brothers and sisters and work together. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I said when you come here, you'll see the people are welcoming and friendly. And some African nations have apologized, have offered, us to come back home, and at least just for a visit, see it for yourself. Because sometimes, like I say, not everybody, but you'll hear things like on social media and it may magnify. They'll say, well, they don't like us, they don't want us there, and like you said, you've studied it, you've been doing this for years and years and years, and you even writing books about it, and you know that that's not the case. It's not all Africans. Africa's so diverse. There's almost 60 different countries in Africa, so
That's right. That's right. That's absolutely right. By the way, are we live or are we recording?
it's pre-recorded, so I can edit it and everything.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, I didn't know if we were doing live. Okay. Good. And how much
Yeah,
time do we have?
we're about 20 minutes in, so we got about 10 more minutes.
Okay, I got you.
Is that cool? That's cool.
Oh yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
All right, all right. So yeah, I just pretty much wanted to ask you about the different projects that you had. If you don't mind, I see you got, like you say, so many books for the viewers if they do watch this episode and they say that's the one I want to read, the book about that. Give them like a little summary. I see you wrote a book called Perfect Peace.
Perfect Peace.
If you could
That's
speak on that a little bit.
probably between that, The Coming, and maybe Don't Cry for Me. Perfect Peace might be my most popular book. Perfect Peace in a sentence is the story of a very desperate mother black mother named Emma Jane Peace, who raises a male child as the daughter she always wanted. Uh, yeah, and it's about the consequences of that decision for her, for the family, for the child. So I won't say more, but I think people will love that. I think folks have loved that. Um, we're in the 10th, 11th, 12th edition of that book, so that's been going great. Don't Cry for Me is my latest novel, and Don't Cry for Me is the story of a dying black man on his deathbed who writes a series of letters to his estranged gay son, trying to see if he can amend, if he can patch the relationship from afar before he steps into eternity. He on his deathbed he realizes that his son is a wonderful human being, is a wonderful person, but he did not want him. He did not want a gay son when he had one, and he treated him that way. And he's trying to see now if he can tell him enough and teach him enough before he dies uh, to heal himself after he buries his father, and thus not carry the burden of the rest of his life. Um, that's called Don't Cry for Me. So, whichever one folks might think they like, jump in.
Yeah, man, them some deep topics, man. Definitely. And then people can relate. Like I say, I know a lot of people can be like, man, that was me, or I know somebody like that. People
Right.
like to be able to relate to different things. Now, have you thought about doing like turning in any of your books into like a film? It sound like some
That
dynamite films, man.
we're already ahead of you. That's already in process. Don't Cry for Me. There's a short film, a short made from Don't Cry for Me, about 15 minutes. That's already out, and well, it's at film festivals right now and doing tremendously well, and that'll be out soon. And a film version of Perfect Peace, it looks like that is in the making. So just keep your eyes and ears open.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I definitely look forward to that. Or even like I know sometimes before they do a film, they may do like a play, a stage play. That would be dope. That would be nice, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Feel
Now,
free.
what about documentaries? You ever thought about doing any of those?
You know, I haven't really. Um, I've not thought really about a documentary. No. So, we'll see what happens. It could happen.
Okay, okay, just putting it out there.
Okay. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Okay, okay. So yeah, we pretty much covered a lot of this stuff, but I guess I can ask you, okay, now for the viewers who do want to follow you, they want to keep up with what you got going on. Is it a like a website or a social media or
Yes.
somewhere where they can
Yes.
find
Best
all of
place.
your work and
Yes.
mhm.
Instagram or Facebook. And Daniel Black, right? Just put my name in and it'll come up. That's the absolute best place. If a person wants to support me and check out one of my books, Amazon is absolutely the best place to get it from. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Now one more. I guess I got one more question. Now, what about like because I seen you did the graduation. Do you do like speaking engagements,
Oh
or
God,
are you going to be anywhere in the near future where people can actually come see you? Maybe do a book signing. I don't know. Which one you may
absolutely,
have.
absolutely. Oh, I wish I'd had. Wait a minute. I wish I'd had my calendar in front of me so I could see. Um, I do speaking engagements all the. Oh, in fact, this coming Saturday, I'm so glad you asked me this. The National Book Club Conference, this coming Saturday, the National Book Club Conference here in Atlanta. I'm featured there Saturday at 1:30 p.m. The National Book Club Conference in Atlanta, Saturday, 1 p.m. I forgot the name of the hotel, but if you just Google National Book Club Conference. It'll come up. I'm there at 1:30 p.m. Come out and check me out. And I'm always talking and speaking somewhere. Yeah, so all the time.
Okay, okay, that's real cool. That's real cool. So yeah, I want to thank you again for coming on the platform. This is definitely an honor. Like I say, the speech was phenomenal, as you
Oh,
already know.
thank
It's
you, brother.
still sharing, still getting views. I definitely look forward to the projects that you have, coming in the future. And then I'm gonna keep in contact with you. Hopefully, we can connect while you're here in the motherland.
The honor is mine.
Hmm. Definitely, definitely. Thank the viewers for tuning in.
Absolutely.
All right.
Take care.
Yep. Take care. Peace.